Hello. This is Wesley the Actor, ATM Cash Out. You can find me on all social media as Wesley the Actor, and that's all one word. So thank you so much for coming to this channel. I really appreciate it once again. Today we're just going to be talking about this feeling of self-love and how to actually learn to love who we are. And right now I just want to kind of just give people the understanding of like what typically happens. So first, I want to talk about the brain and how we can move from what's going on around us to being who we are. And it's actually a good time in this time period with during the quarantine, and we're kind of stuck to ourselves for a long period of time. But starting with the brain, what typically happens is the brain, it sees what's going on, right? It's all these things going on, all these emotions, all these people around us, all these thoughts and ideas, all these different types of energy. And what happens is we get so caught up in other people's energy sometimes that we kind of lose track of like who we are. And today I want to just give you an understanding of how to get back to who you already are. And that's the most important part, being who you are so that you can live your best life. So the way to do that is to realize first that these are other thoughts that aren't necessarily your thoughts on how you feel about yourself. Like, I'll give you an example. Growing up, I'll give you like someone might have called you ugly, right? Somebody in your family might have even called you ugly. And I'm just using that as an example. Personally, it never happened to me. But if in this scenario, if you hear it over and over again, this relatives keeps telling you, hey, this, that same running through your mind, you start to believe it as if it's true. So when you go on that first date or when you go out to meet new people, you're just like, well, now I'm going to be shy, or now I feel some type of way because, I'm ugly. But you're not. You're not ugly. I just want you to realize this right now, regardless of who told you that, regardless of, if anyone has even remotely said anything about that. You are not ugly. You are incredible. You are awesome. So that's what you have to worry about. Realize that in the inner you is completely different from the outer you. That's one. So I want to kind of go over the brain real quick, and I talked a little bit about this in my podcast, and I'm going to have my podcast link in the description so you can understand this as well a little bit more in depth. So there's 5 parts of the brain that I know about. So you know how they say that we only use like 20% of our brains? That 20% is our senses or our physical being. What we taste, what we touch, what we hear, what we see, what we smell. These are all physical. But that's all one. That's that 20%. Now, that means that would leave us with 80% more of the brain. So let's actually break down what that brain can actually do. Now that we've gotten out just the physical, now we run into what's called symmetry, or the difference between good and bad. Now, a lot of religions or a lot of mystics in the past, they had like the angel here or the devil here or vice versa. And they would say that these two things are whispering in your ear all the time. Now, mind you, good and bad is subjective to the individual. Me personally, I believe that good is only found in Christ. But and how you feel about that would be completely different. But, that's completely up to you. But that good and bad is typically subjected to the individual, right? So if my bad can be someone else's good, and somebody else's good can be somebody else's bad. So it's completely up to you. So that's the second part. That's the symmetry, realizing there's a difference. There is a difference between good and bad. Because when you see that there is a difference between good and bad, then you have what's called clairvoyancy. And that clairvoyance is knowing the truth. Knowing the truth that would, like it says all the time, it says that the truth will set you free. The thing is, your mind knows exactly what the truth is. Once you understand the difference between good and bad, you can see the truth, right? And that's, we have 2 eyes, so you can typically see the truth once you get out of that scenario. But after that, right, then we have what's called telekinesis, being able to attract what we want into our life. Now, we have this ability and this is our vibration. Now, if we don't know how to access this part of our brain, then we're never able to get what we want into our life, and that's what happens to a lot of people who get there. They get stuck in their circumstance because they haven't attracted what they want into their life because they didn't realize that they can attract everything that they want through their mind, right? And then from there is levitation. Now, levitation is something that we do in like astral projection or leaving the body and things like that. Like that typically happens when when you're in that state of awareness. Now, getting there, we'll probably talk about that in a future video, but you can also look it up on YouTube. There's a lot of great content out there that talks about lucid dreaming, but that's the fifth part of the brain. Now, I want you to understand these five parts of our brain is circulating on a daily basis different types of energy that is telling us, hey, you can't do this, or hey, you can do that. And if it's repeated on a daily basis, it starts to become our life. Now, mind you, these things outside of us don't necessarily have anything to do with our inside. But if we get so attracted to the outside, we lose track of who we are. What's the point in gaining the entire world? Because you can have everything in this world. That's the easy part. That's the attraction part. You can attract anything you want in your life. But what's the point in gaining everything and lose your soul? You want to make sure that you know who you are. So now that you understand the five different parts of the brain, you realize that the brain and the heart are actually connected through how you speak. But I'll get to that, and I might get to that a little later. But the heart, I want to talk about the heart now. The heart doesn't see with the two eyes that we have. The heart feels. And this is what you need to get back to, feeling what it feels like to be in this energy that we want. And not just feeling, well, I feel down, I can't do anything about this, but actually feeling what it feels like in a different predicament. And what I want to let you know about is there's a practice, and it's a very simple practice, but you put your hands over your heart, right? And you just feel that heart beating. And when you feel that heart beating, what does that feeling feel like through your entire body? Now, once you've done this in a long period of time, you can start to feel your heart beating through your entire body. And when that happens, you can actually ask your body, hey, is anything wrong or is everything great? And you can find out what's hindering you from being the way that you want to be, or what's in your way right now. But it's all in your mind. You can actually, you channel all of that all together. And that's, now that you understand that the heart, it doesn't have its own eye, but it has a feeling. The thing is, the brain itself can't feel. It can conceive, it can like see what's going on, but the heart feels it. So it's about letting your heart flow bigger than your mind, because the thing is, you're gonna logically try to figure things out with your mind instead of actually feeling what it feels like with your heart. And if you know what it feels like to do something, and I'll give you an example, and this is something that Wesley, I think his name is Wesley Virgin, he told me about this, but he talked about this example of a Lamborghini. And he said, when you go to a Lamborghini dealership, you open the butterfly doors, you smell that new car smell, you feel on the new wheel, and you play with the gear shift because it's not automatic, it's manual. And you go as fast as you want on that parkway. But he told me that it's not about the physical car itself, but the feeling that the car gives you. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head, and I said, yo, it's about the feeling. If I feel good, I can be good. Now, this is just a short episode. I'm going to be talking more about this in the future. But what do you feel like? Not what your brain is telling you, but what do you feel like? I want you to just be kind to yourself and let yourself know, hey, I love you. Keep telling yourself that. Just keep expanding on yourself and saying, hey, I love you. Hey, you're divine. Hey, you are incredible. And just remember that you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. I want to thank you so much for coming to this channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I can't wait to hear from you. And if you have any other topics that you would like me to speak about, because I am very to a point where I understand who we are as a person, and I'm going to explain how that series goes on in the future. And I look forward to, speaking with each and every one of you.